Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments, and we are currently doing the Kew Gardens drama. A beautiful place, based in London, although there are other areas of the UK where you can find such gardens. And Kew Gardens, as I say, started off in London in the 1800s in the previous episode. Is quite a very large area within the London area, and also encompasses the Royal Palace in which Queen Charlotte, the wife of King George III, used to reside, and he used to go away as well when what they used to refer to as his times of madness. Today we know that there was actually some sort of infectious disease he had which made him the way he was, but back then they didn't have such a thing. But anyway, let's get into this. So, we've just spoken to Hamish, this guy Hamish. So,
can I help you, gentlemen?
A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools. Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only, for I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah, at the moment I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens, and I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? That is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself. But my father treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon.
right.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
Open.
Good day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent
Dr. Watson's
exhibition.
got a bit of a crush.
Oh, yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn. That is how I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see. It is a great honor.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate keys. He agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him. It is only temporary.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious. From here, we are unable to see the interior of the colonial collection room.
Close that window. Not what she meant to do.
Materials for college study. They belong to Albert. These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office. A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
So maybe Albert preferred the idea of going to sea.
There is a smell of burning.
It's something that you would see today, that's for sure. At least not
The symbol is not from Kew Gardens. A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material. A broom handle was half burned. The remains of a picture frame. The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned.
so you might have an idea from that possibly.
Dry These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Okay. So that suggests then that made for Kew Gardens then.
Water lily greenhouse. Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Do not touch.
The plants were here. All of them were stolen. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building.
So,
Colonial Collection. Nursery. Seed house. Ventilation system. Dry tropics. Water lily greenhouse. Farmhouse. Director's office, cloakroom, and laboratory.
Right, so basically that confirms that this here is where
Locked.
I go. So as he considers himself to be the director, we all need to talk to him, I guess.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before. And now all of a sudden he is trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
What is your opinion of Albert as a student of botany?
He's useless. I often tell him so, and I can only give him cleaning tasks. Botany is not his life's work, and his father well knew it. He was furious about it.
He was?
Oh yes, he forced his son to work here, and he never missed an opportunity to criticize him publicly.
Are you able to elaborate on that?
Well, for example, with our last exhibition here, Mr. Dunn had Albert make a presentation speech. But then, while the lad was speaking, Mr. Dunn interrupted him, asking him difficult questions, making him look like a failure. It was with the intention of making a fool of him, Mr. Holmes.
That must have been terribly humiliating.
Yes, he was crushed, and he had to leave. Everybody was making fun of poor Albert. That is, except for Miss Margaret White, who is such a nice lady and who always takes pity on Albert.
You mentioned a Miss White. Would you tell us more about her?
She is a student who works here part-time. She is quite charming indeed. She possesses a great talent for botany. You should take a look at some of her experiments that she carried out in the laboratory. Ah, if only she were not so naive.
Why naive?
The way she used to flutter around Mr. Montague Dunn. And why, he couldn't help but be flattered by all her attention. How could an intelligent woman such as Miss White not see through his game? I can only scratch my head and wonder.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Right, okay, so we've established that Albert keeps the keys, so we need to go and ask him about that.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private. I am sure you understand.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon. Champagne. Montague Dunn had good taste. French wine. A remarkable vintage. Newspapers discussing Kew Gardens. A photograph of Montague Dunn and Reynold Hamish.
Interesting. Sorry, I'm just having a look because this is a very difficult one to do. So if you want to do it, just watch what I'm going to be doing now. Right, so this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three, 4, 5. There we go. Right, so just remember when you do 3, you do 5 after that. Give you a little bit of time to read that.
I suggest that we don't tell Miss Margaret White about this document.
Okay, so now we've got a deduction. So, what we're going to do is white. No, it doesn't matter how at this point you. Well, actually, it says disagreement, so we don't. So. Okay, so I don't know what to do there.
Such masks are generally worn when dealing with toxic chemicals. Gloves, waterproof aprons, everything one might need for self-protection.
Do they grow dangerous plants here?
It appears as though the protective equipment is missing from here. There was a bottle here. It left behind a trace of the substance that pervaded the laboratory. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around. Several drops of the substance were spilled. Someone carried this bottle around.
Gold dust? Good heavens. What's it doing here?
The gold is almost immune to chemical attacks. so it may be a valuable auxiliary for various experiments.
But why would anyone perform such experiments in a botanical garden?
The bottle is no longer here, but it is possible to detect a faint scent. We need a good nose. A botany book.
University of Cambridge, huh?
This student's book belongs to Albert. Chemicals, a sufficient quantity for some serious experiments.
A phonograph used for voice recording. Remarkable.
Yes, this is quite a modern laboratory.
Martin Hamish's perception of plants. The notion of communication in the plant world has long been considered marginal, yet I remain convinced that some plants do indeed transmit chemical signals in the event of attack.
A study report by Martin Hamish.
Interesting stuff.
And it seems clear from these multiple experiments that plants do respond to their environment and have a form of consciousness. Margaret White, February 1895. Report number 245.
Study report.
Okay. So there's a piece missing, I'm guessing, from this.
This is a table for experiments. It resembles my own.
Only this one is kept in good order, Holmes.
Right, so I'm going to bring it to an end here. I'm going to thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. I do believe there is one more case after this, so I will take a check on that just to see. If there is, I will confirm it in the next video. But again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a very good afternoon.